One of the things obviously you had is obviously, of course, you had Cody involved, and but he said in an interview, and I remember him saying even last year after WrestleMania when he came back, a big, not I don't know if it's the biggest part, but a part of why he came back to WWE was this film. Like, when did you realize that your film, is almost changed the tide of helped change the tide of the whole wrestling business? Because Cody coming back to WWE was massive. Like, it has changed so much the momentum of WWE and everything that's happened since. And when did that realization hit you that you've just almost changed an industry almost?
Well, I mean, it hit me kind of like a truck, and I didn't even know it was coming, and I didn't even understand how big the truck was. So that, going back to your first question about how does a guy who doesn't know a lot about wrestling, start? Well, the first once I started the project and we got the full green light, my first call, because I was told like, hey, the family's generally okay to be involved. And you should probably start by, reaching out to Cody. So I was like, okay. So, I texted him. I didn't hear back, for a couple days. And, meanwhile, I'm still, I was still in the process of reading Dusty's book. Like I hadn't done all my research yet, but I definitely wanted to connect with him to just figure out how much he was going to be involved and what the deal was. And I was like, started to get like kind of annoyed. Like, I'm like, why isn't this guy like writing back, And I go online and like he had literally, like, the day I texted him was the day that he left AEW. And and I'm like looking on Google. I was like, oh, because I knew the AEW thing was going to be like a challenge, because it was like you can work with Cody, but he's at AEW, but we think it's okay. There'll be some, you'll be allowed to put him in the film, but maybe. And so I was like, all right, cool. So then I was like, wow, so he left AEW, and I was like, oh. And then there was this window where it was like he left, but nobody knew what he was doing. And he called me back and I got on the phone with him, and it was like still not, I don't think it was still like done. Things were still very up in the air. And he was very honest with me and said, hey, like, the doc, like, I'm happy to help out. These are the things I think, that would be nice to have in it. I kind of gave him my thoughts about, really incorporating the family. And he was like, you know, unsure, but he was definitely not like, it wasn't like he was like locked and loaded with WWE. He was not, as far as I knew, an executive producer. Dustin was, I hadn't spoken to him. I didn't have his number. He was at AEW, so that was a conflict. So it was very much a gray area. And over the next several weeks, things started coming more into picture. And I'd heard that one of the things that he really wanted, if he was going to go to WWE, was he wanted to be involved on this project. And I think, it says a lot about, Cody. I mean, Cody, at the end of the day, is like very businesslike, right? And the way he dresses and the way he approaches the business. But he's also, very protective, and really wants to, he believes he's, a key member of wrestling's royal family, and he wanted to, have a voice in that. And I think it says a lot about him, because I think you get to that point in your career, like, you're looking for a huge payday, you're looking for a title, you're looking for some security for your new family. And he had the wisdom and the courage to actually also want to be involved creatively. And he ended up being a great partner.